Alright, so first you're going to want to wipe down your crafting table because it's actually a crafting law that mysterious filth particles are created on an unwiped, and now my shirt is nasty. I actually make most of the mistakes I'm warning you against during this video, but my shirt still came out okay, so just have fun. Cool, now you're going to want to iron your shirt and get all of the wrinkles out because that gives you a flat surface to paint on. Okay, so materials, very important. We got a paint thing to hold the paint, and paintbrushes, and paint. So I've got both fabric paint and acrylic paint here. You'll be wanting to use fabric paint on your fabric projects. Unheard of, I know. Don't worry, there's more awesome tips where that came from. I don't have the colors I want in fabric paint, so I'm gonna mix some fabric paint with acrylic paint. And I've never had problems with that method, but more on that later. For the sketch, I like to use chalk. If you don't have chalk, you can use a pencil. Some people use hard soap, and I've even seen a ballsy architect use a Sharpie for their t-shirt sketch before, but I'm not a ballsy architect, so I think chalk is the best thing to use because you can get it cheap and in lots of colors, and it's really, really easy to wipe off and wash out, so you can make so many mistakes and still be able to fix them. So with lettering, I try to picture how I want the words to look on the shirt in my head first, and sometimes I can't do that, so the best way to figure out where to put things is to just put them down and see if you hate it, and then if you hate it, you can fix it, because, you know, you can just wipe it off. I actually spend most of my time just planning where I want the words, but the sketch is the most important part. It is so much easier to have the final product look right if you have your tracing correct. You may have noticed the words on my arm. I've got the words written on my arm because I am comedically bad at spelling, and I misspell things so consistently that it's kind of the only way I can relax, is that I can double check, like, is there actually spelled with the E first or the I? Like, it gives me a way to look. So that's why I did that. So for the font, I'm kind of trying to get it to look like this font I found online. There's a bunch of awesome free font websites. I'll link them down below. Sometimes I make stencils for lettering. You can make them with tape, or you can even kind of make stamps. You can print letters and stick them down, and then take a chalkboard eraser and stamp on top of it so it leaves a blank space in the shape of the letter, and then you can fill that in. Or sometimes you can print out the letters you want, color on one side in chalk, put it down, kind of smush it, and then you can get the... I'll do another video about that, I think, about just lettering. There's lots of ways to do fun lettering. By the way, please excuse the shaking. My camera is suspended with tape, hope, and the phone holder from my car, so I've got a really real professional setup. But yeah, for the lettering, I'm just kind of freehanding it here with a reference image. I do recommend those. I'm trying to make sure that the words are centered, and they aren't, so I'm gonna have to redo them. So the phone in front of me is displaying a picture of my monitor that I took of the font that I liked but didn't feel like paying for. So now I'm just kind of mimicking the letters as best I can. But in the end it still looks kind of messy. You know, it's my handwriting. Whatever. So you'll notice me writing stuff down and erasing it over and over again. The project is gonna get kind of dirty if you lose a lot of chalk, but you can just wash it out or shake it vigorously after the paint dries. Found that one out the hard way. I use my own shirt to wipe off the letters sometimes, but because you are smart and you're here to learn, I recommend using a paper towel to wipe stuff off. I thrifted this shirt, and if you thrift shirts, I suggest washing them before altering them because a clean shirt is ideal for painting. And also, I always make up really sad stories about the clothes, and washing them is how you get the ghosts out. So there's another pro tip. Yep, another big old tip coming right here. The biggest difference between acrylic paint and fabric paint on a project is the way it feels. Acrylic paint dries hard and it's less flexible, it's stiff. And fabric paint dries soft and keeps the fabric feeling more like fabric. So what I'm doing here is actually lay epic genius, because when you mix acrylic paint and fabric paint together, you actually just get the worst of both worlds. But I keep doing it because in my head you end up with a slightly less stiff feeling. I mostly just don't care and want to get the colors right. I think it's perfectly acceptable. It is less stiff than acrylic paint, but I don't know, it's not as good as fabric paint, and it's still pretty close to acrylic paint, so is it worth it? I don't know, but I do it, so, you know, you can too. Alright, I kind of like this placement, good enough to paint. So now it's time to put the paint on the shirt. I wanted a neon bubblegum pink color, but I didn't quite have that. So the next tip is an important life lesson, and that's learning to settle so you can keep going. It may be harder to look in the mirror, and something's always going to be rubbing you the wrong way, but it's that or nothing. The world will never ever be what you want, and no one can give you what you need. I'm just going to mix a bunch of paints until I can get a color kind of like what I want. Right here, actually, I am making a grave mistake that, you're about to see come to fruition. And it's that you never, ever, ever mix product over your project. And I actually realized that. After I put the paint out, I move it and I think, oh, I shouldn't do that. But I never learn. I never, ever learn my lesson. And you'll see that in a second. Fate is unkind to me. So yeah, pro tip for the amount of paint that you'll need. It is a lot easier to have too much paint, and there it is. Yeah, there's the thing. You never mix paint over your project because it won't come off. Here I am making it worse. You would think after so many times I would figure out what to do about that, but no plan. But don't worry, we'll fix it later. Anyway, like I was saying, you would rather have too much paint of the same color than not enough paint and have to try to remix and match it later, so make sure you get enough paint for your project the first go around. I am an ex not having enough paint cell turned into Craft Chad, so I had exactly enough paint for my shirt. I will flex that here because I make so many mistakes in this video, so that's the thing I got right this time. Alright, here I am, first coat, going for straight lines. The first coat isn't going to look great. You can see through the paint, so you'll definitely want to have more than one coat, and that's why I need so much paint. I like to listen to music when I paint stuff, especially if it's band merch. Right now I'm listening to Destroy Boys songs. The words on this shirt are lyrics from Honey, I'm Home. Actually, you should give it a listen. I like that one. So, in terms of the actual paintbrush you use, I use this paintbrush for everything. It's kind of a thin, flat one, kind of a square shape, because I can turn it sideways and do small lines, or I can do thicker lines with it. Any paintbrush that's too long and thin, I don't think it'll guide the paint very well. It'll be really hard to fill in letters, so that's why I like the short, stubby ones. So right about here, you can kind of see a difference in the color of the letters, the way the pink stands out really good on the white versus how it doesn't on the black, and that's another reason we're going to need to do extra coats, so the letters are all a consistent color. If you want your letters to show up better, I would recommend doing a white base coat, letting it dry, and then painting over it with a color, because then it'll really pop. I didn't do that because I didn't think of it at the time, so now I'm in the 3-layer paint club. And now that I think about it, you could probably do a white base coat and fabric paint, and then do a fabric acrylic mix on top, and that might be a little softer than just straight acrylic or something. Yeah, that's pretty smart. I should have done that. But whatever, it's punk rock. This turned out, it worked great. It was fine. So I'm almost done here with my first coat. Anyway, I wanted a Destroy Boys shirt, so I made my own. To quote my personal hero, Pubertina's mom, real fans make their own merch. I do that for a lot of bands I like, because sometimes their merch is ugly or just doesn't exist, because I listen to obscure bands, like the Arctic Monkeys, maybe you've heard of them, and sometimes the bands I like don't have merch, so I have to make it myself, so that everyone knows I'm cool without having to even talk to me, because I don't want people to come up and talk to me, but I do want everyone to think I'm cool. So now here's the second coat, which is going to look a lot brighter than the first coat. You can see it's harder to tell where the brush strokes were. And alright, third coat. The subtle difference between layers 2 and 3 is the edges of the letters are a little bit clearer, so that's nice. Alright, but now I'm gonna fix this guy. Fuck you, little stain. The solution here is really complex, and I'm not sure anyone who isn't an advanced crafter could come up with it, but I'm gonna paint over the little white spot. Here I am, mixing paint over the shirt. I never fucking learn. Boom! Can't even tell. It's like it was never there. Looks good. There, I turned it into a little heart, so now it's cute. Luckily, the shirt's really big on me, so it just kind of fits under the fold of my arm. It looks a little better in person, but yeah, don't get white paint on your black shirt. But hey, shirt's done! Excellent work! Woo! I hope you found this helpful. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think everyone should customize their own clothes. I bought this shirt for $1. It's from Joe's Bike Shop, whatever that is. So there, now you can make an epic shirt. Bye.